We are Anchor. Stay tuned for updated real news.
Hello, Anchor Daily News viewers. Every day there are new and unexpected developments in the course of the war. We see that this difficult struggle between Russia and Ukraine is being shaped by deepening crises not only on the front line, but also in the internal structure of the Russian army. Today we're here to tell you about a striking phenomenon that goes beyond the front lines and is unfolding within the Russian military structure. Since the beginning of the war, the loss of morale of Russian soldiers, cases of desertion and serious breakdown in military discipline have been on the rise. A Russian soldier deserted by killing 10 of his comrades in his unit. Such incidents are considered as the manifestation of not just individual but also structural problems within the army. The fact that such a large-scale tragedy occurred in an environment where the army is facing problems in various areas ranging from logistics to morale, and where soldiers are struggling with burnout syndrome and insecurity, helps us better understand the extent of the crises in the Russian army. Recent developments reveal not only the erosion of military discipline, but also the acceleration of desertion. There are strong indications that soldiers are taking every opportunity to flee the battlefield, and that in some units there are great difficulties in maintaining control. This incident, which we'll examine today, reveals once again the fractures in Russia's war management. The weaknesses in the command structure of the Russian army seriously affect both the strategic and psychological aspects of the war. The death of 10 soldiers and the desertion of the perpetrator is not just an individual act, but provides important clues about the general state of the army. How does this tragedy indicate a vacuum in the army's leadership? What kind of security gaps does the deserters' escape reveal? How will Russia deal with its internal problems in the midst of war? Let's take a look at the developments together. Before we get into our report, a quick reminder. The Anchor Daily News team is real. None of my team members or me are artificial intelligence. There's no doubt that AI is very advanced, but it's still not as good as us. By the way, don't forget to subscribe and turn on notifications so you don't miss our daily reports and explanations. I do read all the comments you leave on our videos, so please continue to share your ideas about our content in the comment section. Tell us in the comments what content you'd like to see on the Anchor Daily News channel. And now let us begin if you're ready. Anchor Daily News reports. The desertion of a Russian soldier who participated in Moscow's large-scale invasion of Ukraine after killing 10 comrades in his unit while they slept has once again highlighted the depth of the ongoing crisis in the Russian military. Maxim Fedorchenko, 33, allegedly carried out the gruesome attack while on duty near the village of Novopokrovska in the Zaporizhia region. Fedorchenko then fled in the direction of Polohi and was pursued by special search teams while Russian sources remained silent on the issue. The Telegram channel Spy Dossier first reported the incident. The channel reported that the attacker was a prisoner who hadn't served in the army before and was deployed as part of the occupation. Fedorchenko, known to be from the Primorsky region in southeastern Russia, was known by the call sign Barabash. The soldier was unmarried and served 4 years and 6 months in a high-security camp in the city of Usurika before the war. The deployment of these soldiers who have no combat experience reveals the management weaknesses and human resource crisis in the Russian army. Fedorchenko allegedly threw a grenade into the bunker where he was serving and then shot and killed 10 soldiers who were sleeping in his unit. A large-scale search is underway around Melitopol to catch the escaped soldier. Such incidents within the Russian army are on the rise as a result of indiscipline, loss of morale and problems in the chain of command. The recent spate of incidents in which Russian soldiers have opened fire on each other is a strong sign that the Kremlin's control over the conduct of the war is weakening. Fedorchenko's attack is not the only recent incident within the Russian military. The same post cited other similar incidents. On October the 25th, in the 2nd Motorized Rifle Regiment of the 810th Separate Marine Brigade, Captain Dmitry Slepnev was shot 3 times in the head with an AK-47 by a private named Alexandre Ryabov after an argument. The fact that even commanders are being targeted shows both the deepening unrest among soldiers and the deepening tensions between higher and lower echelons. Ukraine's operations against Russia's border regions also contribute to the increase in desertion and clashes, especially in the Kursk region, where Ukraine's operations have intensified since August the 6th. Tensions between Russian soldiers have been on the rise. For example, in March 2023, at an observation post in Kursk, a Russian soldier from the 37th Separate Guard Motorized Rifle Brigade shot and killed a fellow soldier after an argument. There are numerous reports that Ukraine's military pressure in the region has increased stress on Russian soldiers. The increase in such incidents in the Russian army shows that the Kremlin's leadership is facing a serious discipline and morale problem. The increase in desertion as well as murders among soldiers attests to the corrosive impact of the war on the Russian military. Russia, squeezed on the military fronts by Ukraine's counterattacks, is also struggling to maintain control at home. So far, Russian sources have preferred to remain silent about such incidents, but it's clear that the crisis in the military leadership has reached a point where they can no longer ignore it. It remains unclear what kind of a roadmap the Kremlin will follow in the coming period to prevent such incidents. Russia's determination at the start of the war has been replaced by growing uncertainty and disorganization, both on the front lines and within the military. Disintegration is undermining the Kremlin's strategic plans. Mutinies, desertions, and infighting in military units are just some of the consequences of the protracted war. These events in the army show that the war has become as much a psychological and moral burden as it is a military one. Russia's military losses and internal conflicts on the battlefield have begun to question the sustainability of the war. Although the Kremlin tries to hide such incidents from the public, the unrest and disillusion within the army has reached a level that cannot be ignored. Russia, forced to fight a war of attrition against Ukraine, may face the risk of a complete breakdown of military discipline if it doesn't come up with a clear plan on how to manage these growing internal crises. Fedorchenko's desertion and the accompanying tragedy show that Russia is facing a difficult test not only on the external front but also internally. What do you think? How do you think this crisis in the Russian army will play out? How do you interpret the acts of violence committed by Russian soldiers against their fellow soldiers? How long do you think the Russian army can continue the war under these conditions? Let me know in the comments. I read and care about your opinions.